But it's been a long time. I used to be in the habit of broadcasting casually at a whim. And I don't know what happened, We all backslide a little bit. Used to do my periscopes every night. And I think I started to think that, I should probably not do it so frequently, because people get tired of repetition. But then, what the heck, I talk every day, so why not talk to you every day? All right, so here's what I want you to think about. This is pretty important. We have some intercessory updates. I want to tell you that prayer is working, but I don't think we often see the connection between our prayers and what's happening. I was at an extraordinary event this weekend. I don't want to cover all of it, but it was in the state of Georgia, and we were praying, and I was the guest at a beautiful reception by a lady named Kay Kent, and it was a great gathering of intercessors and leaders. And as I got home from that gathering, I noticed that Georgia had that there was a breakthrough in our prayers regarding the exposing of the deep state. I'm going to give you 2 updates tonight that I think are important. One, we were praying about the absurd, vitriolic energy with which Stephen Colbert and Bill Maher and the left has been savaging Donald Trump. And my contention is that when there's such sustained disrespect for authority, especially authority that we are of the opinion God has anointed or God has blessed, and when you have that kind of obnoxiousness going on, you simply want to pray and say, Lord, do something. And I believe God has. I think it started with Kathy Griffin with her meltdown. I'll get to Georgia in a second. Kathy Griffin has her meltdown, and then she goes and apologizes. And then she screws up her apology by having her lawyers with her to go accuse Donald Trump of breaking her, which is ridiculous. Of course, Melania Trump and, has to be included in that. In other words, Griffin just had a total meltdown. I mean, when you got Keith Olbermann texting, twittering in public, for God's sake, shut up. The left is hurting. Then Bill Maher, Bill Maher steps into a bag of poop, himself, which is like incredible, with dropping, the N-word, like one guy said, just because you fist bump with some brothers at high school doesn't entitle you to think that you're one of them. So Bill Maher, gets himself in trouble. But I see that as a silencing of the left in these critics. And Steve Colbert was the first one that went over the line and offended the homosexual community. So Colbert, I'm reading, I wrote a post last week, or I copied a post that says, we're waiting for the 4th face on Mount Rushmore. We have Colbert in trouble, then Griffin, then Bill Maher. But I believe this is really, in a strange way, it's an answer to prayer. And now I have my liberal spies that are watching me so they can go to the newspaper and print stuff. They'll love that one. So let me give you this one. I'm waiting for the fourth one to shoot a drop. There'll be at least one more gaffe that'll take place. Now back to Georgia. We were praying for the deep state to start to get exposed. And indeed, in the state of Georgia, I'm so pleased to see that it's where the first deep state arrest is happening. And it's from some 25-year-old chick who's really should be better qualified, better judgment. She speaks like Pashto and 2 other languages. She's a security contractor, and her name is Reality Lee Winner. And she was caught taking state information and turning it over to liberal rags and news outlets in order to, expose material which was actually state secrets. So she will be the first one off to jail. And I say first because I really believe if you're praying, you've got to see, because all you're going to get on the news is, the constant barrage of media manifesting, which is what it's doing. It's like a demon. It's manifesting. And so Trump is constantly, it was interesting. We had 7 people that were killed on the London Bridge, including I had some friends of ours that actually were on the bridge 5 minutes before the incident happened. Believe that? And they had just crossed over before the incident happened. And so you have 7 people dead, but one news anchor is talking for 15 minutes on Donald Trump's tweets and 5 minutes on 7 people who are dead. Something's wrong with that. So what you've got going on with the deep state exposure is just the beginning. The backlash or the wrecking ball effect on the comedy entertainment world. I think the left is going to continue to fall into the pit that they have dug. And we have to pray that they fall into the pit that they have dug for themselves in order that there might be a sense of, what should we say, even civility, propriety, and a sense of restoration of manners in our culture. Because the left is ballistically crazy and constantly aggressive. So the comment that I'm particularly intrigued by is one from Bette Midler, who said that she considers this to be, this incident in England with the latest terrorism to be proof that we could do without, religion and men. I don't know where the man hatred comes from. It's that feminism, argument that Kathy Griffin is using, how older white men have all her life been her adversaries. When I think everyone will agree, including her friends, that it was an older white man that held up a head. It was she who screwed up her life, not older white men. But the idea of Bette Midler saying that we can get rid of men and religion, I wanted to point that out to you, even from a prayer perspective, because that's where the real danger comes in Western civilization. It's not from ISIS. It's not from even raging comedians or liberal press. It's when public figures who are respected and liked, like a Bette Midler, an entertainer in popular culture, when they say we would have a better world without men and religion, what concerns me about that is Western civilization is doomed if those that are part of the culture actually start talking about a world, forget about without men, when you dishonor all faith. You're moving in the direction of the secular progressives, which don't have any faith in God at all. Their faith is in science. And, not all of them, because some of them obviously are Scientologists, so we have to make room for a few. Or Buddhists, because they're into anything, that looks trendy. But what I'm trying to say is that there is a serious outcome of what you're watching in the news right now. London says that they want to monitor all conversations in order to provide a filter to catch those conversations that are not safe. And what concerns me about that, and you as a thinking person, is the moment the secular socialists come to the wrong conclusion and decide that they've got to monitor everybody in order to protect themselves. It's just one step away from what Canada's wanting to do right now in their legislation, which is to monitor the conversations of parents with their children so that the state has the authority to take children away from parents if the parents are caught teaching against homosexuality. That's what's being debated in Canada right now. So I don't ever want to see the loss of freedom. But this is what happens every time I go to the airport. I get that strip search you go through. We've forgotten. We've lost our rights to go to the airplane without having to take, your clothes off, your hands up in the air. Someone's looking at your body on a scanner. And why? Because Muslim fanatics could blow up a plane so everyone loses their freedom. And I want you to really think about this. The tendency of secular man without faith is to go to lawlessness. And then when lawlessness produces disastrous outcomes, it goes to extra laws and loss of freedom. And in the loss of freedom, you're one step away from tyranny, which takes away all your freedoms. So what I'm saying is, and I'm probably tired, I have to go off the broadcast because it's kind of late. I'm saying that the secular response in London is the wrong one. It's let's monitor all conversations. Well, at some point they're going to monitor Christian conversations. They're doing that in Canada in one form or another. And then you got the West Coast elite type, Bette Midlers who say, well, the problem is religion in general. Can't you see how easy this is for like your perfect, Orwellian end time script, like like we've read before from Hal Lindsey, where all technology is going to be monitoring conversations and anything that is seditious to the state, such as Christian conversation, could be marked. And we'd be better for the world without religion. Why? Because Muslims are blowing everybody up. Therefore, let's knock off all the Amish, Presbyterian, and the Mennonite, and all the Catholic nuns in New York and New Jersey. Think how stupid this is. But this is the way the secular brain wants to go. A world without rules, a world without religion. A world without morals, but a world that doesn't tolerate the moral. Those who have a standard. So, we want to continue to pray. We want to continue to pray that God will expose what is in the deep state. Trump took on a really big enemy, something that no president has ever done easily, and the last one who, frankly, the last one who really alienated the CIA was John Kennedy. And there's a lot of suspicion as to whether the CIA was somehow behind his assassination. The reality is, when Trump took on and started criticizing the intelligence services, what you're seeing now leaked to the news is what the intelligence service will do as a backlash. They will dig, and expose. And the whole goal of the devil right now is to keep the news cycle wrapped up with speculation, not fact, speculation about Russia, in order to carry this over to the point where the midterm elections can bludgeon a couple of seats in the Senate and Congress, and the Democrats can get enough power to completely block the president's agenda. But we're going to pray. We're going to increase our prayers. Father, in Jesus' name,